your gear, let's hit the water. Paddle and fin, where the vibe gets hotter. Kayak fishing, straight talk, hear the stories unfold. Starting freshwater adventures bold. With multiple hosts, yeah, the crew's all here. Casting lines in rivers, no need for fear. From the east to the west, we're making waves. Join the tournament hype, see how it raves. Paddle and fin, we're on the go. From the lakes to the oceans, let the good times flow. Fishing tales and triumphs will paint the scene. Jib reviews and profiles, you know what we mean. Bring special guests, every episode shines. This is kayak fishing, where the world aligns.
Chasing the 20-incher Susquehanna River podcast is brought to you by these great companies. Railblazer, think outside the tackle box. Kayak Cushion, for them long days on the water. Achigan brand, the official brand of smallmouth bass. Blue Mountain Outfitters, Susquehanna's local kayak shop. Ken's Jigs, need a custom jig? Don't look any further. Nico Fishing Baits, next generation of soft plastics. And Undercover Baits, get hooked on Undercover Baits. Thanks for watching and welcome to the show.
That's 20. That is a 20.
I got to give props to John Rapp for the new Paddle and Fin intro, man. That is rocking, dude.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
I don't know if I listened the whole way through it the first time you sent it to us, but yeah, I was like, wow.
Yeah. Welcome everyone to Chasing the 20-inchers Susquehanna River podcast. Michael Bradley's in the house. What's up, Michael Bradley? We got Moodle Doodle. What's up? Susky Bass, good evening. My son and I enjoyed meeting you both at the show Saturday. I think I know who that is. It was great to talk to everybody there.
Yeah.
Same here. Kudos waiting for this raffle. Yeah. So the past 2 weeks, me and Sean did some shows over the weekends, and we had a big bag of Undercover Baits. Probably what, $200 worth of baits in that bag at least.
Yep, right here.
Yeah. We sold raffle tickets for $1 a ticket. We sold a bunch of them. So do you want to draw that now, Sean?
Yeah, we can.
Before
All
we
right,
do
so
the river level?
I saw Randy's listening. What's up, Randy? All right.
What's up, buddy?
So we have.
I'm Squirter.
I gotta read this. Steve Stransoning, or might be messing up that last name. It's STRAN something, but that is our winner. Steve, if you're listening, pop it in the comments. Congrats, brother. And I don't know if you can see it.
Why don't you say the number too, just so you know?
Well, we probably shouldn't give out his number online.
No. No, the ticket number.
Oh, ticket number. Okay. Ticket number is 386-8861. So that is
somebody's saying they won.
Sweet.
Moodle Doodle.
Straining. Okay. Oh, I apologize for butchering your name there, Steve.
Steve Straining.
So
congratulations.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You want them to get in contact with you and see?
I'll give you a call probably after the show, if that's cool, and we'll set up how I can get in touch with you, and we'll get I'll meet up with you somewhere, and we'll get that bag delivered. So congrats, man. He just won a crap ton of Undercover Baits, including a cool custom painted
like a
Well,
wake glide bait.
yeah. So yeah, definitely congrats. Thanks to everyone who entered. I did count all the tickets today. We had 201. So definitely you guys showed up and that was awesome. So that'll definitely go towards our kayak angler season, help us out in a lot of different ways. So super thanks to everybody who entered, and congrats again to Steve on winning that crazy big bag. So.
Oh yeah, Smallmouth Saturday's coming up soon, like 2 weeks at Susquehanna Fish and Tackle. All right, and also we drew a name for the last show we had. A Chegan brand is nice enough to give us, well, not to give us, but to give out to you guys $50 discount on your next order. So that winner of that one, we had people put in the comments hashtag a Chegan brand, was George Stamper the second. George Stamper the second, 4947. So George, if you're listening, hit me up on Facebook on our Chasing the 20 Inchers Facebook page. I need your email address to send to Josh Sharenko so he can send you a discount code for $50. So thanks for everybody for getting involved with all that stuff.
And congrats to the winners. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a monthly thing that we do with the Chegan.
And I love their sweatshirts, man. They are so super comfy.
Yeah. Yep. We got a really exciting episode this week with we got a special guest. He's a river guide on the Susquehanna River. Brandon Sandy with River Redemptions LLC. But before we bring him in, we're going to go over the river levels and the photos of the week. So we'll start with Harrisburg.
You got it?
Yeah. Give me a second here. Gotta find it. All right.
I got it if you need it. There you go.
All right. Harrisburg right now is sitting at 5.04 feet. And that's kind of I mean, I drove over Harrisburg Bridge yesterday and it was frozen up pretty good.
Yeah. But look at that rise. That's crazy. I guess
I know.
And I'm sure it'll be higher.
You know.
All right, we'll jump over next to Lewisburg. Lewisburg also had a similar rise as expected. Not sure. I'm sure if Harrisburg's iced up, then it probably up there has got to be too. So,
yeah.
But Lewisburg is sitting at 4.15 feet.
It's like they're on a rise now. The one in Harrisburg was, when was that? Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's odd. All right, next we have Marietta. Marietta's actually
interesting.
Looks like they're starting to rise a little bit, but they're sitting at 34.58 feet.
Definitely not the jump that the other gauges had, but I imagine that will work its way down as well. But I drove over the 30 bridge yesterday, and it was a lot of ice. So I don't know how that there's a lot of fishable water anywhere, but hopefully before too long it will be. And lastly, we'll jump up to Towanda, and Towanda's at 1.81 feet. So it's interesting that one didn't have a rise either. So it's almost like the rain or whatever precipitation didn't make it to there. So, but yeah, so that was our river gauges brought to you by Railblazer. Think Outside the Tackle Box. Thanks to them for sponsoring that.
Yeah, thanks to all our sponsors. They've been really generous lately.
Absolutely.
I know Railblazer sends me and Sean stuff to test out before they actually put it out for sale. And
we got a cool cleat to try out, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good sized cleat, and it's rail mountable and everything. So,
yep. All right, let's get into these photos real quick. We only have a couple of them. I don't know if we want to show the last one or not, Sean. We have 3 of them.
Okay.
I'm sure there's not many people fishing right now because of the weather, and that's why our photos of the week are a little low this week. But we'll start off with Lisa Lake Fishing. Lisa Lake with a nice smallmouth bass.
Thank you. Yeah, they're always quick to send us a picture, so thank you. Next up, we have our good buddy Mike Reinhold with a nice smallie there. So, Mike, thank you for submitting that. And it was good to see him at the Red Lion show. Definitely thanks for sending that picture. And Mike.
Yeah, nice fish. And the last photo we have was from yesterday. It's some of the team from Undercover Baits. We did a show yesterday, and we had a blast, man. We had
it was fun.
We were laughing all day long.
And it was also cool to have so many people come up to the table and say that they watch the podcast and just say hi. So thank you guys for that. We appreciate it.
Yep. And one more thing before we get into bringing Brandon in here, I had a little skit I wanted to play. Now this is all for fun, guys. We love all kinds of fishermen, but we had a Karen come up to our booth yesterday and give us a hard time. So we're gonna play it.
Hello, sir.
What's happening, guys?
Hey, did you do any kayak fishing at all?
This is a kayak table?
Yes.
You
Kayaks
guys
are
do
awesome.
nothing but piss me off. You guys clog my ramps,
Wait a
in my
second.
way, in my
Are
shoes.
you one of those jet boat guys?
Oh, yeah. I live
gosh.
and breathe jet boats. Yeah.
I don't know how many times you guys have tried to run me over.
If you're in my way, I'm going over you. Just get out. So, what's this stuff here?
That's if you're fishing from a jet boat, you're probably not interested in that kind of stuff.
Oh man, that was just all fun. We had a bunch of fun yesterday, man. But without further ado, let's bring Brandon Sandy in here. He is the owner of River Redemption LLC. He's a guide on the Susquehanna River. Bring him in. What's up, Brandon?
Guys, how are y'all?
All right,
Good,
how
man.
you doing?
Welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome to Chase. We couldn't think of a better podcast to have you on since you spent a lot of your time on the Susquehanna River, and
Sure.
that's what we like to talk about. So we're river rats too. We just do it in a little bit of a different way. We don't have money to buy boats and stuff like that, so we kind of went the cheap route and we go kayak fishing, but we have a blast out there with the kayak.
Heck yeah. And I've spent some time on a jet boat and I absolutely loved it. So as much as we had fun with that video yesterday, believe me, if I could have a jet boat in my garage, I would have a jet boat in my garage.
Was that video staged?
Yeah,
Seemed like it was, but yeah.
Yeah, it was good. We were just having fun, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's room for everybody on the water, right? And I've seen some of them kayaks set up, especially for guys fishing tournaments. I wouldn't be surprised if they had, up there around the same cost of what a jet boat would be. It's all about
I've
what
heard
you're
some-
serious about and what you enjoy, man, really.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and we know quite a few people who have 10,000 plus in their kayaks. Easy.
Sure.
So
And I'm kind of between them now, but I started my first boat I had on the river in Pennsylvania, at least, was a bona fide.
SS
I remember the three. No, it was a pedal drive. I keep forgetting the name, P127, because they got
Okay.
those 1 letter 2 number acronyms or
Yeah.
however they classify them. So, kayak anglers are near and dear to my heart. I got a lot of friends that fish out of a kayak. So,
Yeah.
well, and we talked to a lot of our guests, and we always ask them if they have any recommendations for people we should talk to, and your name came up multiple times with our guests. So that speaks to what you do and the people that you affect too. So thanks for coming on. And
Yeah. So why don't just introduce yourself a little bit here? It's Brandon, and how you got started in fishing, where you're from, and like basically what you're like, if you have like a set time when you do guiding, or if you're just a full-time guide, or what do you do?
yeah, so I started fishing probably when I was 4 years old. I'm originally from North Carolina, so I grew up in coastal North Carolina, and I've been in Pennsylvania since 2017. So the majority of my fishing life before coming to Pennsylvania was saltwater. I cut my teeth a lot of inshore saltwater fishing, speckled trout, redfish, um, probably until about the time I went to college, and then I started fishing more offshore, both bottom fishing, things like grouper, triggerfish, snapper. But then I got a lot into until I moved to Pennsylvania, probably my early to mid 20s to early 30s, a lot of offshore trolling, wahoo, yellowfin tuna, mahi, and did a lot of uh, mate for hire type jobs, never on one specific charter boat, just kind of wanting to do as much fishing as I could. And then, you know, as I got older, had a chance to have two center console boats. So I had a Carolina skiff 19-foot that I used to run inshore, and then a 26-foot Mako dual
Nice.
outboards, deep V center console that we used to take offshore bottom fishing, Gulf Stream fishing. So that's kind of how I got my start fishing.
Okay.
Nice.
If you could go, if you obviously you do smallmouth and stuff now, do you have if you could choose, which one would you chase, saltwater or smallies?
That's
Can you
that's
choose?
tough, right? Yeah, I mean, I'd probably, if I could split as good as the fall is, I'd probably, spring, obviously all the spring fishing for smallmouth everybody thinks about. We all dream of going out, mid-March to June 1st, call it. I mean, to me, that's about the prime time. I know most people hone in on the month of April, right? But
Right.
probably I'd do that for smallmouth if I could migrate up and fish, October, November, as good as that can be in the river for fall fishing. I prefer to fish for wahoo and yellowfin tuna, like off the Outer Banks, Hatteras, or Oregon Inlet. If I had to pick. It'd be tough to get me to pick one. I
Okay.
never always used to think of myself as an offshore guy, but now that I've came here and I live here and got married and raising a family, it'd be hard for me to see myself, not fishing for these smallmouth too.
Cool. And what
Have
got
you
you
ever-
into guiding? Like once you came up here, just a natural progression from what you were kind of doing with the saltwater stuff.
Yeah, I intermittently would take people not only inshore and offshore fishing, but duck hunting too.
Okay.
So I kind of had a history, not so much where I established an LLC, kind of, I don't want to say under the table. Like I would take people who hadn't caught a specific fish, like a wahoo or yellowfin tuna, mostly just word of mouth. Um, Duck hunting the same way. I really didn't think about really guiding or having any kind of a business until I came up here. And really that came from just wanting to share knowledge, I think. Not a career. You talked about career, so I figure I'll go back to that. So my background, um, I've worked in manufacturing various roles for 22 years. So I still have a full-time job where I do that. I'm a chemical engineer is my education, and I've worked in different manufacturing environments and management probably the last 8 or 9 years. So that's sort of what I do for my day job. But, guiding for me is a chance to teach people how to fish, share passion. Um, and then also I think it's for me what I want to do when I retire, right? I want to have a business, take my time because, I'm like to think I got probably 15 or 20 more years in working in, quote unquote, a 9 to 5 job. But if I could take my time and build a business that I can retire on, that's really what I want to do. So that's sort of why I got into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that totally
makes
makes sense. Man, that sounds like a heck of a retirement plan.
So what
So
was
I-
what was sorry. What was like the time frame from the time you moved up here to when you started guiding? Like how many years or so or
I moved up to Pennsylvania in 2017. And I don't think growing up in where I did in North Carolina, fishing so much saltwater and freshwater, I'd never caught a smallmouth until I was up here. So I started here 2017. First job, I moved sort of where I'm at now in Lancaster County. Met my wife 2019, and I didn't start fishing in the river until 2021.
Wow.
So I mean, I've been fishing, better part of 35, 37 years, but had never really caught a smallmouth. And I started wade fishing in just a small creek. I used to work in Wormleysburg. You can
Okay.
probably do the math on where I'm talking about. But we would go over at lunch, and I would see on Facebook people catching smallmouth. I'm like, this looks fun. It was different because the freshwater fish, if I did any freshwater fishing, if I caught a bass, it was a largemouth or a crappie or, we call them brim, what people call sunnies. But I saw people catching them. I'm like, I feel like I can do this. So I had went home to North Carolina a couple earlier in the summer. This was like June time frame, and brought back a couple of my speckled trout rods, just medium power, 7 foot, like, the most vanilla spinning rod you can basically do anything on. Brought a couple up here. And I said, I'm gonna go try it. So I can't remember. It was June, but I can't remember how cold the water was because June can be kind of fickle here, right? But I can't remember if I had waders or if I put swimming trunks. I can't remember that part of it. But I waded out and I had went to Bass Pro and I said, "What should I catch these fish on?" I had no clue. I knew what I could catch. Speckled trout fishing is, a lot of bottom contact stuff. We throw these things called mirror lures. I don't know if you know what they are, but it's sort of like a jerk bait, but it doesn't have a lip. But I had some of that stuff, but I didn't think it would work. So, like I said, went to Bass Pro Shop. Guy gave me a Z-Man, that pre-made pack that's got the TRD, the little jig, the little mushroom head in it.
Yeah.
I waded in that creek and I caught. I didn't have a ruler, but it's probably a 17 or 18-inch long fish. Probably one that had been ever left over from spawning, and it jumped and just pulled drag like a redfish kind of would, and we used to wade fish for them. So I said, man, this is fun. So I can remember probably 2 or 3 days out of every week I'd go over there with a colleague at lunch and we just wade fish, and I probably did that for probably till early fall, September time frame back then. And I went and saw a couple people kayak fishing. They had the setups with, I don't know that I don't think they had the black box set up like behind the seat. There's like a milk crate they had
Yeah.
with some PVC pipe on the side for rod holders. They had a basic setup, which works obviously.
Yep.
And I watched it. And I remember thinking, man, this is a thing. Like people fish for these fish this way. So then I went down to, I think on the intro, it's Blue Mountain Outfitters, one of the sponsors. So I went down there and bought that bona fide pedal drive P127. Then I just started watching much YouTube as I could. There's a lot of people obviously that show the fish. The fishery makes a lot of fishermen look good, right? Not so much your skill level, but just it's just a world-class fishery. So I kind of watched what I could watch, talked to who seemed like they talked to me about it. I had fishing knowledge. I knew how to catch fish, but it was almost like starting, maybe not from square one, but from square two.
I was going to say, I was curious how the transition went, or whether you thought it was easier because of that background, or if it was such a different ball game but I guess if you're used to, kind of bottom bouncing stuff with the speckled fish, that would probably, at least translate somewhat.
Yeah, the fishing skill set, the casting accuracy, the feel, especially on the bottom contact stuff, was pretty seamless, I would say, because I just done it, not because of any kind of special skill set.
Right.
I think for me, where I was lucky and how I progressed, I started out on foot, walking. Then I went to a kayak, which it was daunting to me a lot, just the amount of rocks that you would see in general, right? Start off in smaller tributary places, then you get out on that main river. It can be and it's hard to explain, but I can fish in 8 or 10 foot seas when you come out of a swell and your marlin plug is blown across your whole lines, no issue. But there's something about going over some of those big ledge rocks in some of those places. It was just foreign and different, right?
Right. No, that intimidated me the first time too, for sure. That's why, when I first started kayaking, I stuck to lakes because I just felt way safer, and I was really intimidated by the river until, I found some guys that I was able to go out with, and they kind of showed me around and what to look out for and how to navigate through that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest, and it's probably, to me, from a skill set standpoint, as a guy where I still have a lot of room to grow, is you showed your gauges. I've got pins to all the gauges on the Juniata and the Susquehanna and all the tributaries because I watch that stuff like a hawk. But running in low water is something that took adjustment because I drove screw boats, prop boats my whole life. And if you see the bottom, if you look down when you're driving with a center console, you're pulling back on the throttle. With a jet boat,
Crank it
you're
down.
going up, right? So that's probably the area I still have to grow the most. I mean, I spend a lot, I say a lot of time, as much time as I can with the 2-year-old and the 4-year-old at home, trying to learn water and read water. And, I start in a lot of areas. As soon as I get off the boat, off the trailer, I put the trolling motor down. That's how I started. Because it was the same as a kayak. I'm not running, right? I'm going to try to figure out if I can drift an area before I run it.
There's
I was going to
Mickey
say,
and Tom.
did that help at all when you transitioned from the kayak to the jet boat? At least you had some familiarity with rocks and where they were if you went to familiar water.
Yeah, it helped me tremendously, and it still does. Meaning, if I'm going to a new area, like I don't have a kayak now. I think I had a RVR 119, and I think I sold that one back to Mickey. But there's a new Hobie's bringing out a new I don't want to call it a blow up because I don't want to offend anybody, but it's
an
like
inflatable, the iTrek Angler. That's
it's
probably going to
iTrek
be my
Angler,
next kayaker. Yep.
Because I've got one of those not the Torpedo, but the Newport. I got one of those Newport NK 180. I don't remember the nomenclature on it, but I'm saying that because two things. I'm really into exploring with new water with a kayak because it helps me kind of learn a few things before I just put in, 30-some $1,000 jet boat and run it up and down.
Mhm.
So it gives me that, but also, even for me, as much as I love fishing the Susquehanna and Juniata, I'm really close to the Conestoga here, and I like going out and catching. I mean, they're not huge, but them little 9, 10, 15 inchers, they still pull like crazy, and it's just different. You know what I mean? There's something cool about catching those fish out of a kayak, I think, still, even though I'm 90% of my time spent in a jet boat.
I've seen that people fish the Conestoga. I always wondered how it was. That's one of the few places around here I haven't fished. So
yeah, I went out there once last year. I caught, I don't know, 15, 20, and I had one probably, he was 16 or 17 inches. I didn't measure it, but that's what he was.
for a creek smallmouth, yeah, that's not bad.
That's good.
Nice fish.
I know Michael Bradley wants to
go ahead. I just took it away.
Yeah. He wants you to walk us through your jet boat setup.
Yeah, so I have a G3 18 CCJ. It's a 9065. So with jets, and I think I got this exactly right. Me being the engineer, I should know this like the back of my hand, but you lose, I think it's 130 or horsepower. So if it's a 90 horsepower outboard, it's going to be a 65 jet. So that's what I have, a 9065 Yamaha 4-stroke G3 18 CCJ. I call it a center console. It's got the bucket seat. I've got basic Lowrance side scan and down scan. I've got the Garmin LV34 live scope. Not that that's necessary, obviously. Yeah, that's my jet boat stuff. And then on the bottom of it, I've got that K5 coating. So,
okay.
It's
wondered
better
about
to
that
have
too.
it. It's better to have it, not need it, not have it. It's funny, man. Like bumping, no problem. Like I'll drive my boat right up on the ramp when I'm picking people up. Don't bother me at all. But still, it's a little bit unnerving when you hit one going 20, 25 miles an hour.
It's unnerving hitting one in a kayak doing like 5 miles an hour. I couldn't imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what time of the year do you start guiding? You're guiding, and then when do you kind of like fade it out when the weather starts getting colder? Do you go throughout the whole year as long as the river doesn't have ice on it?
Yeah, it's funny. I told clients this year and it kind of made a liar out of me. I told them I like fishing. My favorite time of the year to fish for them probably is December, January, February now. But
Okay.
I'll fish for them as long as the lures don't bounce. But for me, I mean, typically guiding, I'll have trips this is my third season. So I've had trips from probably call it mid-March to this year. I had one into November. And before that was October. So that's typically when the guide season runs. But I'll, a lot of times during the rut, the first 2 weeks of November, I'm bow hunting. I did that probably a little bit more than I wanted to because we've had such low water, man, since mid-July.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, if somebody wanted to go, understanding the conditions, but if it's ice off the river, and let's say it's 35 or 36 degrees. If somebody wanted to go in February, March, I'd take them, no problem. Not just for an event. I mean, I've caught fish in numbers that time of the year too. It just
Okay.
depends on the weather.
Well, I know when we brought you, we first started talking, you were saying that the spring is your favorite time, and so what we kind of wanted to bring you on to talk about was just actually as we finally start to thaw out and start transitioning from winter fishing to spring, kind of how you attack that, and kind of where you start, and or are you kind of just, I know, some people just follow them the whole time. So if you're on them in the winter, you kind of know when they start to transition, and, what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, I'm going to call it end of February, start of March. I'm gonna stay on those fish where I know they're at in the winter until they tell me they're not there. So, in the spring, most what people are going to tell you, and this is a fact. I mean, those fish are going to be either in and around a tributary or on their way to a tributary for the most part for spawning. But for me, I start if I'm trying to figure out where those fish are between where they spend the winter and where they're going to be in the spring spawning. I start in winter holes in eddies, right? So I've got a handful, call it probably six primary sections I would say are good winter that I know. Obviously, you can put in any ramp on this river. Don't let anybody fool you. You catch fish. It's not there's no secret spot. News flash for everybody.
Yeah.
But I probably got 6 places I know, and what I'll do, I'll start in those winter holes, eddies, bottom contact stuff I know they'll bite if they're there, and I'll cycle through those places. And I've caught enough fish between those places and where I know they are in the spring. It's pretty simple. They're going to be somewhere in between those two. But if I'm starting end of February, beginning of March, I'm going to stay on those winter holes until those fish tell me they're not there.
And then you kind of slowly transition out of your kind of, I don't know, I want to call them winter techniques, but like blade baits and those kind of things. I know you also mentioned your favorite way to catch them is jerk baits. Is that when do you start transitioning back to that, or do you use that all winter long as well?
I catch them on jerk bait January through December. Summer, it just depends on how fast I'm gonna work it. But if I want to know a fish is there in the winter, I'm typically gonna throw an eddy. I'm gonna throw like a micro jig or a tube, or like a 2.8 or a 3.3 Kitech, something like that. Those are probably universal for me in a free flowing situation. If I'm in a impoundment situation, I'm gonna throw a rig to find fish just because you can cover more water.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a bite, you'll find an aggressive fish. But yeah, if I'm trying to find fish free flowing river, I'm gonna throw a bottom contact presentation in an eddy.
Okay. And if you're guiding, do you put different things into your client's hand, or is it all based on their ability as well?
What clients fish with depends on. It's a few things. First, it's we talked about transition, and I told you I'm gonna stay on those fish till I know they're gone. So let me kind of use that to segue into sort of what I would do with clients. But hold on a second. If the water's getting, call it mid 40s, 45, 46, 47, they're going to start moving it. This is from my experience and what's worked for me. They're going to start transitioning and be in those transition zones between that winter hole and a tributary. And that's when you can get them to be more aggressive. Jerk bait work slightly more aggressively. Bladed jig, like a jackhammer or something like that, close to the bottom, still kind of slow, or even a rattle trap or lipless crankbait. But for me with clients, it's going to be ultimately it's what they want to fish with. So I'm going to let them start with what they want. I'll make a suggestion. Mm-hmm. Typically, the bread and butter for me for clients, and it depends. Everything about this river depends on, for me, catching fish at least, water level and water clarity. So if I know the water side fish are on the bank or in there in eddies, I'm gonna give clients same bottom contact stuff. You call it a Ned, but a Ned type of bottom contact. Put whatever plastic
Yeah.
you want on it. A tube. I fish a lot of micro jigs. I'm not a big tube guy. I say tube because I give people tubes, and there's um, one of the bait manufacturers makes a lot of tubes, and I have a relationship with him and use a lot of his products, and they work. But me personally, I'm gonna throw micro jig. But with clients, cold water bottom contact is gonna be some kind of a Ned type bait or a tube. If they're in eddies and in the rivers, when I say it was fishing small, meaning if the water's high and it's more of a winter situation, it's fish are going to be concentrated in areas, so they're not going to be as spread out. So you're going to have to throw something, to force them to bite. And I found with clients, especially in colder water, in slacker current, bottom contact gets them to bite faster. So as long as they're amiable and that's what they're okay with that, then that's what I'm going to let them throw. That, or if it's a transition situation, and let's say I'm sitting on the front of a ledge that's got push water, and that water's 45, 46, 47, and this is great for clients, and I love doing this. I'll give them a jerk bait and just have them hold it off the back, control it in place, count to 15, twitch it, let it sit there, count to 15, twitch it. That's a deadly way to catch them.
Okay. That's I Carlisle does so much better with me with jerkbait fishing, and it's definitely, he tells me I just need to lock it in my hand, and I really do. And I've talked to a lot of different people about it, and I think I just need to, because I mean he swears by it. So
Yeah.
This you got. Go ahead, Carl. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, we're going to do that this spring, Sean. You're only allowed to take one rod, your jerk bait rod, and a bunch of jerk baits, and we're going to go out and you're going to lock it in your hand all day, and you're going to gain that confidence.
All right, we'll do it. I can't even bring my Ned rig rod. Oh man,
that's a crutch, Sean.
Yeah,
it's a crutch.
It's 100% what it is. It is
because
totally.
You can wreck them on it. You gotta throw stuff that. I'll tell you what I do too when I'm fun fishing, and Mick can probably tell you this too. When I catch them on something, I put it down. I want to see how many different things I can catch. But with a jerk bait, it depends on. I don't know if you're throwing it on bait casting or spinning, because you can catch them on either. But jerk baiting for me, you got to add the right rod and the right line if you want it. From what I've seen.
Oh, so expand on that a little bit. I have. What's the jerkbait rod we use, Carlisle? Or it's the
Evergreen
combat stick?
Yeah, Evergreen. Yeah, it's a jerkbait rod.
Is it a medium power?
Yeah,
I think so. Yes.
Yeah,
like a 610. I mean,
that's
I think
probably
6'8".
exactly what it is. It's somewhere right around that.
610 medium. I can name a few that are really good. I'll name the one I use a little bit, but like a X Pride 610 medium's a good one. I think Zodius probably makes a 610 medium. It doesn't matter what the brand is, but you want a 610 medium. I prefer a more modern. Now the jerkbait rod I use a 6.6. It's a Megabass P5 Destroyer 110 stick. It's a JDM.
Yep, I've heard of those.
Just because I like that specific rod, but you just want something that's a medium power. Has got a fast tip, a fast action will work, but I like medium or more of a moderate type. If it'll bend into the midsection, but it gives the bait the action you need, and then also you're going to keep those fish pinned. The deeper it bends into that rod, but you don't want it to be as flimsy as a crankbait rod does.
Right.
Yeah.
And then how about line? You mentioned line as well. What's your go-to line?
I mean, a lot of guys. There's a lot. I've got one guy I fish with that, he's probably not as well, quote unquote, known publicly, but he's a very, very good fisherman on the river. I mean, he throws his on 12-pound mono. I throw mine 10-pound fluorocarbon Sunline FC shooter.
10-pound. Okay.
But that's what
that sounds like my setup. I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
Then if you got your setup right, it's how fast. I mean, this time, cold water, if it's below 50 degrees, it's a slow technique.
Yeah.
And I guess who was asking jerkbait of choice? Like I know I've thrown Vision 110s. I've thrown pointers. I can't even think of all the different ones I've tried.
9 times out of 10, I'm throwing a Mega Bass Edo 110, Vision 110, or a 110 Junior. I like a lot. Probably top 3. Number 2 probably be a Pointer 100, Lucky
Okay.
Crab, Lucky Crab. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
Lucky
especially
Crabs,
if the water's clear, especially ghost minnow, it's dingy throwing chartreuse shad.
Okay.
And then I throw the Jackal range a pretty good amount too.
I've heard of that too. Yeah. Okay.
Now with the Vision 110, are you keeping the Mega Bass hooks on them?
I keep the stock hooks because I keep the stock hooks. I've not pulled off enough fish to have issues with them. And when I say that, man, I'm throwing those Vision 110s in July when guys are throwing top water. I'm working the jerkbait fast and hard, and I keep them. I catch big fish and keep them pinned on them. No problem with the stock hooks. The only reason I do that is not because I don't think a aftermarket hook won't keep them pinned any better, but there's just so much engineering and tuning with those hooks. That bait to me, I think works best stock. Division 110 specific.
Because it's weighted to suspend just perfect, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it's been explained to me. I don't have underwater footage to prove it, but I've caught enough fish on it where I have confidence in it that way.
That makes sense.
I guess what I was trying to ask was, like, say you bend out a Mega Bass hook. Are you putting another Mega Bass hook on it? Or are you using something different?
I just bend them back. I mean, I'm playing them. I'm playing them with a. I mean, I played a fish with a pretty generous drag too.
Yeah.
Plus, that moderate rod helps you with that, not pulling the hooks part of it too. And that's what I do. That don't mean it's everybody else. You can get 100 different flavors, but if I had to, the proof for me is. I mean, it's innumerable the amount of fish I've caught on the Vision 110 in that river, especially that Edo Wagasaki colors, a half translucent. So it's like a ghost minnow top, and it's I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
We're very familiar with that color.
Yeah.
There's a reason that base is popular as it is, and that color is as well known as it is.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we're going to take a 30-second commercial. We'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Awesome. Welcome back, guys. So we were just talking about the Wagasaki, and one of the cool things about undercover baits that we work with is Josh Sims, who's actually listening to this, went to Randy, who's the owner of Undercover, and he said, here I got this color of jerkbait, and I would really love to have a soft plastic jerkbait that color. And so they actually Randy went and made it and tried to match it. Now, this is the first gen one, so this has some black speck in it. The production version doesn't have as much black speck in it. But he really matched the color really well.
It's a laminate.
Yeah, hold that up. Hold that up to the camera, Sean. Get the bottom of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So we were like super psyched to try that. I just happened to have that in this bag of baits that we gave away. Now my hands smell like that. I love that smell.
Yeah, but talking about client baits in warmer water, we're talking spring, but I hit this. I mean, once it's 50-55, a note in low clear water, nose hook version of one of those. I've had more clients catch fish on that than just about anything, other than a soft swim bait.
Definitely. And that was something that we kind of really got introduced to last year. And that once we got introduced to that, it was game on. Really, it was tough to put it down.
Yeah. I think you gave a lot of good information as far as when you go to the wintering holes and kind of see if there's like let the fish tell you where they're going in the spring. But once they move up into the tributaries and stuff, we all know what happens then. I mean, it gets a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
We had a really banner day last year on a tributary, ain't Sean?
Yes.
It gets crazy. I mean, it's like cast after cast, you're catching them. Like you said, it's this river's world class. And it makes people look really good when they catch them. So do you start booking your guide trips now for the springtime, or how does that work, Brandon?
Yeah, people, I mean, anytime, really. I mean, I've probably got, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 so far, I think
Nice.
have been booked. So, I mean, normally for me, people, it's sort of, there'll be a rush around, February, March, really a lot of times right after the Great American Outdoor Show.
I
In
was just going to
February,
ask you about that. Yeah, whether shows really, that's probably your biggest opportunity to book people, I imagine, right?
yeah, I kind of get them then. And then, man, it's funny. People love to fish in the summer for them.
Yeah.
June, July, August. And it's good because you're going to find fish somewhere, but it's so dependent on the water level and clarity. I'm a high
Mhm.
dirty water guy. And when it's,
You
if
didn't
it's
have much of
above
that this
50,
year.
no, I mean, we had a fair amount in June and July, which normally June's not that well, but man, we had some freaking awesome big fish days when it's high dirty water. I'll fish it high dirty when a lot of people think it's too dirty. Throwing a jackhammer, just
Wrecking
racking them.
them.
My one of my best experiences on a jet boat was throwing a black and blue jackhammer in very high, very dirty water, and it was a banner day. I the size and numbers, I think between the two of us, we caught like 160 fish, and I bet you 90% of them were 17 plus. It was just crazy.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
a lot of fun too, man.
And I brought my whole tackle box with me, and the guy I went out with, he's like, "Nah, put that away. All you're gonna need is," and he handed me a half-ounce black and blue chatterbait, and he's like, "This is what you're gonna use today." And I threw that all day, and it never stopped working. It was amazing.
You need to take Carlisle up on that jerk bait and use the same mentality. Take
Yeah.
that and only that, and build
All
your
right.
confidence in. Because the more things you build your confidence in, the more things you're going to feel confident to cycle through to catch fish.
Yeah.
Yep. That's one
And
thing
I'm
I try
speaking
to
to
do
myself.
every year. I try to do that every year. Learn a different technique, and then you got that in your arsenal.
I think for me, what I have to do is, and somebody's going to have to help me with this. I've never been a big crankbaiter. I'll try to force myself to do it. I know to catch fish. I had clients one day last year. It was dirty, and they just couldn't feel them. They couldn't feel the fish eat the chatterbait. Like I saw them reeling, and I carry medium heavy spinning rods just so they can throw a jackhammer, but they're reeling, and I could see the fish knocking slack in the line because you know how the current's running. You don't get slack knocked in your line coming up current unless the fish is hitting.
Right.
You just couldn't feel them. But you give them a crankbait, and I bet you they caught more fish in that day on a crankbait than I caught in a year, just because I don't throw it. Because I can catch them on so many other things that I think are just better. But it's like that with crankbait for me, Carla. And I've had a lot of people show me. Mickey's one of them, just crushing square bill crankbait. It's not.
Yeah, that's interesting because that's one of the things I do feel like I do well. And yeah, it's weird how people just have their different baits that they either love or are not quite there yet with. So
That's one thing. Like a lot of people go out, they want to catch them on what they want to catch them on instead of letting the fish tell you what they want to eat. And that's why a lot of people go out there and struggle because they want to catch them on a certain bait, and then that day they're not turned on to it, so they don't take the time to learn other stuff to roll through their arsenal, and then they wind up, getting skunked or only catching a couple fish or not doing well in the tournament or not doing well on a guide trip or whatever. So I think it's a good idea to do that. Like, learn
I think
as much
that's
as you
why,
can.
like, when we go out, like a lot of times Carlisle and I and maybe two other guys will go out kayaking fishing together, and it really helps when one person figures it out, because then they're like, hey, I started wrecking them on this, and then sure enough you switch over to it, and 9 times out of 10 you're gonna follow suit too. So
You can see everybody turn around and get in that box, right? Trying to get out what the other person got, right?
Yeah.
Digging
Yeah.
under your seat.
what have I got in my cup holder over here?
Thought Mickey was a trout fisherman.
PA Trout Kayak Series. There you go.
Could you imagine people putting them in them little creeks trying to catch trout on opening day?
Oh, man.
Floating through
There's
all
enough-
people's lines.
I was just gonna say, there's enough trouble just not crossing over people's lines to throw a kayak in the mix of that. But you'd be really popular. I'm sure people would be tying on 1 ounce sinkers and zinging them your way.
Do you have any crazy moments while you were guiding, or something that happened that always sticks in your mind, that maybe a client only caught 1 fish, or a client caught 100 fish, or something that was super special, or something that was really bad that happened to you while you were guiding?
I've not had any knock on wood
I was just gonna say, knock on some wood.
experiences yet.
'Cause that was always worry me. Like, if I was a guide, am I going to catch him today? If I hope I don't get skunked, whatever.
And I'll tell you right now, I have so much more enjoyment fun fishing than I do from guiding, because of the pressure I put on myself. It has nothing to do with the clients. But I'll give you 2 stories. One's kind of I'm pretty transparent about my guiding. So I had a guy at church that booked me for a guide trip, and it was one of those crazy rises we had in May. And I was taking him to a tributary, and it's one that I know where the fish are all the time. We were getting like a 3 or 4 foot rise, and it's probably about what the prediction was and what it called for, about 6 hours ahead. And I told him, he's like, I want to go no matter what. We went up there, places I've caught 100 fish days on the regular. I think we caught 2. It happens, even to guides, and I'm not arrogant enough to admit it. Now, I gave him a makeup trip, went, I don't know, 2 weeks later, I think he caught, I don't know, 60 plus or whatever it was. But, for me, I think that's what I try to do if somebody goes with me. If they don't have the experience that they want, I'm going to try to make it right one way or the other. So that's
awesome.
Probably the toughest experience I've had as a guide. But I would say probably the coolest thing, there's a couple well-known fishermen. I've had a lot of help, right? I'm by no means, I would say, self-made. I mean, I feel like I work really hard, but I got one that's really close. I consider him a mentor, Mike Breeding with Grateful Guys. I don't know if you've heard of him or know who he is. He actually gave me an opportunity on a multi-boat trip to go with him and 2 other guys. We had 4 of the members of the Philadelphia Eagles with us back in August.
Oh, wow.
Out on the river.
That's cool.
And I actually had Landon Dickerson and his wife on my boat fish with me, so that was a pretty cool experience. And I put out a line card flyer every year that's kind of got, I don't know, sort of the wall of fame for some of the bigger fish clients have caught. If somebody sees one through the year, they'll see a picture of him with, it looks like a 14-incher, but he's a 19-incher just because he's,
Huge.
a big guy. So
Yeah.
that's pretty.
I'm sure
that's been a pretty cool experience.
Seeing people catch their PBs and stuff with you or that kind of thing is probably really cool too.
Especially a kid, man. Talking about, and this is one other thing. This isn't really like a weird story, but my latest trip. It was during the run, like November 8th or 9th, whatever it was. Water was still low. They were just convinced they wanted to catch them on glide baits, and I said, it's possible. The water was, I don't know, 57, 58. I catch them on glide baits pretty often. It's not my number one technique, but it's something that I do and can do and have. I'm more of a soft swim, big swim bait guy, like a mag draft type of guy. But anyway, the sun was just throwing it. And I said, hey, man, just try this one time real quick. And I tied him on a 3/8 green pumpkin jackhammer with a crawl type trailer. 2 casts back to back, 18 and a half, 19-inch fish. So a young person catching fish,
That's
especially
awesome.
good fish, and seeing them being excited, that's what really matters. And I think for me, what I'm looking forward to most, like I said, I got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. I think the biggest goal I have, other than making clients happy, I want to teach them how to fish so they can carry it on.
Man, I wish I would have started
Heck
when I
yeah,
was that
dude.
young.
That's one thing I wanted to ask you. You said your kids are 2 and 4, 2
Yeah,
and 4 years old.
yeah.
You're gonna get them into fishing on the boat. Do they got on the boat with you at all?
Much as I can. I haven't really taken them when I went to Finger Lakes. They go right around, but when you brought up Speedwell Forge, I need to ease them into. It's not like okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
go put in fish a tributary for 10 hours. You
Yeah.
know what I
Right.
mean? They
Right.
probably won't
Right.
be the best introduction, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get them out more on the boat this year, especially my older one. And my wife loves it, but we've just been spending so much. We have free time just raising children.
Yeah.
Haven't had as much time, but I'd love to get some family trips. That's what's really going to matter. Getting out there and getting them on the water.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Speedwell is trolling motor only, so that would work out nice. Like just to get them, just have a nice calm day out there, catch some crappies or whatever.
Exactly.
Cool. That's awesome, man. Do you want to tell the people where they can find you? If you have a website, they can go on and book you for this coming
Yeah,
year.
sure. Sure, yeah. There's several different ways you can get up with me. So you can probably the easiest way is just www.riverredemptionllc, exactly like it is. And if I could send you the information to Carlisle if you want to post it, but it's www.riverredemptionllc.com. There's an area there you can either email me if you want to do it that way, or there's a direct book option you can book there also through a third party.
Yeah.
I've got a YouTube channel. If you search River Redemption LLC, you can kind of see some of the better days I've had. And then it's if you want to kind of see what we've been doing, you can search River Redemption LLC on Facebook too. You can send me a Facebook message. So any of those ways people can get up.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
Anything else you want to add before we kind of wrap this up, or anybody you want to shout out or anything like that?
No, I mean, I know, Mickey Forces probably told you guys a lot about me. He's done a lot for me, taught me a lot about certain areas of the river. He taught me a lot when I didn't know anything about, especially, I knew a lot about boat fishing, but I started in this fishing a kayak. I want to thank him. Obviously, Mike Breeding with Grateful Guides has given me he's given, a lot of knowledge. He's a mentor for me. And then John Stigler, Snagler Tackle, also another one that's been
He's a
very
good dude
influential in
too.
me learning this
Yeah.
river. Makes a lot of good baits, a lot of good soft plastics. And I didn't talk about it a lot, but towards the end of spring when that water gets into 60 degrees and it's spinnerbait season, if I'm throwing a spinnerbait, it's a Snagler Tackle spinnerbait.
I love his spinnerbaits. Yeah, definitely for sure. He has what is that color that it's a darter or something like that. I'm just drawing a blank on it.
River darter,
Yeah.
black nose dace.
Black nose. That's it. Yeah. Yes.
He likes that one. You need to throw a Southside Slammer in clear water. You only need two. Southside
Okay.
Slammer 3/8 in clear water. It's a double wheeler. Or then throw that. If you want dirty water, rivals a jackhammer. I'm not gonna say it'll outdo it, but like his half ounce is called Chartreuse Death Snag. That's a really good one.
Okay. Yeah, no, I definitely, and he has a couple different types of spinnerbaits too. I had him on when I did the noob show on Paddle and Fin before Carlisle and I got started. I had him on, and we did a whole episode just on spinnerbaits, and it was really cool. Hearing him talk the way through that. That he definitely knows his spinnerbaits for sure.
And he makes a lot of varieties, and he can tell you every reason why. I keep it simple because it's just easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got a reason and a science and a lot of experience, which is what really matters.
Yeah.
Why those colors work and why those blade combinations. And again, like a shout out for him. If you're at the Great American Outdoor Show, I'll be there with him probably 2 days. But stop by the Snagler Tackle booth. He's got a lot of good tackle too.
Nice. Well, Brandon, we appreciate you coming on tonight and sharing a little bit of the juice and doing what you do for the people that don't have time to go out there and figure it out, take them out and let them catch some fish off your boat. That's freaking awesome, dude.
Sure.
We heard nothing but good things about you, and we wish you the best of luck in the future. And we hope to actually meet you in person one of these days. Maybe we'll meet. Maybe I'll see you up there at the Sportsman Show.
Sure. That'd be awesome. I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Hopefully see you on the water sometime. We could be on another time. Y'all have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, thanks, man. Oh, sometime I want to have you back on and talk about mag draft fishing too, because that's another thing that I want to learn. I'm intimidated by throwing something that big.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Caught a lot of fish on that. Anytime, let me know.
Cool. Awesome, man. Alrighty. Well,
all right, Brandon. We will catch up with you soon, buddy.
Have a good rest of your night.
Try to stay warm.
Same to you.
All right. See
Thank you.
All right, Sean. Before we close out of this episode, I did want to show our schedules again for the Kayak Anglers Central PA and for PA Bass. So here is the 2026 schedule for Kayak Anglers of Central PA. The 23rd of May, we're on the Upper Chesapeake. June 14th, Susquehanna River. July 25th, Lower Susquehanna River. August 9th, we got that charity event on Lake Redmond. August 22nd, Susquehanna North and West branches. And September 5th, our signature event, it's going to be the Juniana in the Middle Susky. So your choice on there. And then, Sean, I'll let you go ahead and do the PA Bassin.
All right. You caught me a little bit off guard. Here we go.
You got it?
I see it. Yep.
All right.
There we go. So this is the PA Bass Nation. They're starting off April 14th on the Juniata, April 25th. Oh, April 4th. April 4th. My bad. I can read, I promise. April 25th on the Upper Potomac River. May 8th, Presque Bay and Lake Erie. Man, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
May 23rd, the Upper Chesapeake Bay. June 28th, the Chinago River Lake. July 11th, the Susquehanna River. And then the championships will be August 15th and 16th on Susquehanna River Lake. So thanks for getting that schedule to us so we could share that as well. I'm definitely Carlisle's going to make sure I fish some of those events this year.
Yeah, as long as you're all healed up and we're ready to go, we're going to do it.
I don't think you're going to be able to keep me off the water come that time of year. So
I don't think so either. But we do want to say thanks to all the sponsors we have out there. Railblaza, Undercover Baits, Nico, Kayak Cushion, Blue Mountain Outfitters, Ken's Jigs. Everything that you guys do for us, we 100% appreciate it. Achigan brand, we want to thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to give our listeners that $50 a month and spend it as they will on your website, which if you're a smallmouth fisherman and you're not wearing Achigan, their clothing is freaking awesome, man. Their hats, their shirts, they got sweatshirts, t-shirts, all kinds of stuff.
Shirts. Yep.
They also have baits. They sell the what's that soft jerk?
Oh, the munchie.
The munchie.
The munchie. Yep.
Yeah, so you can get yourself one of it. You could actually get a couple of them with that $50 gift card. So All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, Sean, we're gonna close this out. We appreciate everybody for watching tonight, and we will see you on the next episode of Chasing the 20 Inchers. Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
Thank you for tuning in to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, for future shows, like, follow, share, and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out our individual channels and accounts too. Want to be a guest on one of our shows and talk of adventures, gear, or products? Contact us. Thank you for watching The Noob Show with Matt Gibson, Chasing the Tide with Dustin Nichols, The Rusty Hook with John Rapp, The River Run with Adam Fraser Pross, May Contain Fishing with Daniel Woodcock, Chasing the 20s with Carlisle Esterly and Sean Lavery, Friday Night Bites with Brian Schiller, Thanks for tuning into the Paddle and Fin Network. Subscribe and always wear your PFD.